All right, I'm here with the Wolf Master himself, Tuomas, to talk about Wolfheart, latest record, King of the North. I believe a title inspired by me, coming out September 16th on Napalm Records. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a good day.
So I think we need to start this conversation with the elephant in the room, and that is the clean vocals on this record. What inspired you and motivated you to have both Vagelis and Laurie come in with some clean vocals on this Wolfheart album?
Well, Laurie has been doing quite a lot of vocals. When you count together all the songs, he's been doing the vocals. We have the one completely clean vocal, like acoustic single. Then he did the Ian of Cold version. He has done some melodic singing in the chorus of Zero Gravity, Breakwater. So it's not like a new thing at all to have him doing vocals. And then again, I knew exactly how talented vocalist Vagelis is when he joined the band. But when he did join the band, we had already the previous album composed. So at that time, he could only participate as a solo guitar player. But it was already clear that I think it would be completely idiotic from my side not to use both voices, because it brings so much more into the music. My vocals is basically a percussion. I can only yeah. I'm not talking myself down, but it's more like a rhythmical element. I can't there's very narrow range of emotions I can bring with my vocals. It's the aggression that I bring. But to be able to replace some of the, for example, guitar melodies with the human voice, at least to my ears as a songwriter, adds a completely another layer of emotion also.
Does this change for you in terms of how you approach the creative process in the songs, knowing that you have now these extra tools, if you will?
Yeah, of course, I had to think the guitar arrangement differently, because for the vocals you need to have a certain space in the song. You can't have just melodies on top of melodies competing. There's one has to lead, and then the others follow. So, but it made things a lot easier, because
made things easier.
Yeah, it is. I've been doing that quite a lot. I did that with Before the Dawn for 7 albums. I did that with Dawn of Solace and Blacks and Ian, having clean vocalists, and that kind of brings completely another instrument. So I have a different variety of tools to create the song. So of course that's in that way it makes it more easy. With the growling vocals only, there's a lot bigger pressure with the guitar melodies. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to have guitar melodies, but after 50 melodies in one album, the number 51 is going to sound pretty much like the previous ones. You are the range gets smaller. As a songwriter, the bigger the canvas is as a painter, the more you can actually put into it. Let's put it that way.
So so in the future, do you see yourself stepping back a little bit as far as your vocals on a record is concerned, or are you still going to take the lead?
I'm still going to keep the lead, yeah. But I think, and I always appreciated bands, especially live, that all the guys in the front doing also vocals, and like a kind of leading their own parts, so to speak. So it's I think it's a huge strength to have 3 vocalists, and I don't feel that my leading role is under threat or something. It doesn't. I don't need to sing the most to be the leader of the pack. It's not too much to say about myself. But yeah, it's the songs will decide. If the next album, if the songs require different vocals than mine, then we're gonna do it. It's the music that matters the most, not the egos in the band, who gets to do more, or am I being seen as the leader because Vagelis is doing more vocals? If he does a better job and the song sounds better, then that's obvious choice.
Will we ever see you doing some clean vocals?
No.
That was an easy answer.
No, I've checked my capabilities, and there is none. Again, I've been working with so many insanely great vocalists, Lars, Mikko, for example, both like unique and like incredibly talented. So my bar is set way too high. I'm not the guy who's gonna reach that bar with my vocals. So we just never gonna hear those.
Not even in the shower. Okay, perfect. I know how the collaboration with Jesse Leach came about because we've talked about it, you know, long time ago. It seems like an eternity ago. But do you mind sharing a little bit of how that collaboration came about for those that don't know exactly how you were able to get him on a song?
Yeah, that was completely accidental thing to happen. I got a message last October. It's almost a year ago actually, and I got a message from one Russian fan in Instagram. He was sending me a link to Jesse's Instagram stories, and he had one of our songs called Valkyrie on the background. And first I thought like it's probably like it's not purpose that it's our song. He just wanted to have any song about that topic or the title Valkyrie because he was talking about his girlfriend, and that kind of like there's a lot of songs with that name. But I had to write a comment or message saying that a good choice of a song, and then he replied telling that he's been a fan of ours for years, and our music was introduced to him by one of his friends, and then asking like how are things going on with the band, and we were at the studio at the time already mixing the album. And he was telling like Wolfheart is that style of music that would fit really well for his vocals. That would be the thing that he would want to do as a vocalist, like this kind of music. And I was like, well, hey, that can be arranged. That can be arranged. I'm only here to assist you in your quest to get to sing in Wolfheart. And yeah, that's just completely accidental. I even made like a clear choice, and we had that discussion with the management also that we're not going to take any guest vocals. Like we were asked, like, is there anybody they could reach that we would want to add on the album to give more like a color on the album or name dropping? And I said, definitely no, that there's already 2 new guys. I don't want to take the spotlight off from Vagelis or Lauri. So no, but yeah.
But is that something that you would do in the future, or you like to keep it more organic, things like this to come up more in a natural way, not really force those appearances to be there for the sake of being there, like name dropping, like you said?
Yeah, I don't think we would need it in that sense, but that doesn't mean that I'm only like insanely happy about what happened with Jesse and getting his vocals. But at the same time, I have 2 really strong vocalists, like besides me on the band already. So it's not like the music would, like for the next album, that wouldn't be an issue that we need to find somebody to do again some kind of like a guest vocals to make the album on the same level. But accidents happen, so I'm not saying that there wouldn't be anybody on the next one, but yeah, there's already 3 strong vocalists in the band,
Or at least 2. So
okay, that's how it's gonna go. I thought it's gonna be a fun interview, but
no, I'm just taking what you said. I'm using your own words. I'm using your own words against you.
Being a growling artist also means that I'm a vocalist. It's just a different kind of vocals that I do. It doesn't mean that the art that I have chosen is any less than anybody else's. But yeah, I got your point.
You know, did Jesse ever get back to you after the track was released with any feedback or any thoughts or anything like that?
Yeah, and of course he did the video parts also, and we started doing the video production when the song was ready, and yeah, we've been in contact also with that, but it didn't stop with the song because we started to work with the video, and it wasn't that simple thing in the end to have a same looking footage in different continents without me being in both places. So, but what I really like about the video also is like he actually even looks like he's part of Wolfheart. He doesn't stand out in that way that when he comes on the camera, it suddenly changes somehow. He looks like he's part of everything that is happening. So
yeah, I think you guys did a wonderful job with that video. Really, it's a really good take on what the song offers. As a songwriter, as a musician, when you're creating a Wolfheart album, specifically King of the North, do you look back at the previous records and take something from those learning experiences, or you're always the kind of person that is always looking forward, always thinking of what the next creative step is going to be?
I do try not to look back too much. And it's not, I wouldn't like go seeking mistakes on the previous albums. You just want to make the next one better. There's so many aspects of making an album better, at least in your ears. It starts from the playing, it starts from like small details that probably nobody else would even hear. But you just focus on the music that is in your hands at that moment. You try to make as good as album with that material. It's not like comparing that certain thing needs to be better than the previous album, because those are completely two different things, a different time anyway. So,
and without comparing, this album sounds vastly different from Wolves of Karelia. What changed the most sound-wise that we can see the difference on this record versus the previous one?
well, also the material change from Wolves of Karelia is it's a lot less aggressive. Different tempos allow different guitar arrangements, and also the melody. A lot of the melodies come from the vocals also on this album. That kind of like adds another layer. And this is the first album that Saku mixed. Saku has been doing the Dawn of Solace albums. Juho was still doing the recordings, but there were some clear changes that was done in the like the production chain also.
When you have a guy like Vagelis on the team, we already see what he's doing with the vocals. We see what he's doing with the guitar. Is he involved in the creative process, or does that fall all on your shoulders?
Well, he does naturally writes all the guitar solos. I only like comment when he sends something ready. I don't give any like pointers or like advices that just wouldn't make any sense. Same with the vocals. Same with working with Vagelis or Lauri or Mikko. I rather hear the main ideas coming from them, and then we work on top of those, and then I match the lyric and rhythms based on their idea. Not that I would feed the buck into their like corner and they just need to do what I have in my mind, because that wouldn't add much on the music. So songwriting itself is still in my hands, the same like it used to be. But of course, the guys have a lot bigger role on the songs. Like without their vocals, it wouldn't sound like even close to the same. And of course, they were part of the creating the vocal lines.
The guitar sound on this record sounded excellent. The solos, everything. Do you feel like he was a little bit more free, more relaxed, and maybe some of that comes across in how things sound and how things come together?
I think he was a lot more confident on this album. Like the previous album was the first one. He might have felt, I didn't actually talk about this with him directly, so I don't know exactly what he was thinking, but Mika left quite a big boots. Mika is like insanely good, one of the best in Finland ever, to my ears. And if you are a guitar player, you can hear the greatness of his playing very easily. And I think maybe on the previous album it was more like Vagelis trying to prove himself or something. But the solo arrangements and the composing of this album is one of the best ever in Wolfheart. So it's yeah. Again, the songs are a little bit different also for solo guitar player. I think he had in a way like musical freedom because of the songs also.
Yeah, it's just for me as a listener, it just came across as him being more confident, more comfortable in doing what he was doing. And that obviously has a positive impact on how the solos came across. Because the solos at some point, I hate to say this, but they had a little bit of a Mika flavor to them, which takes you back to the old Wolfheart albums, you know?
Yeah. And what I really wanted to also on this album with the solos is to Vagelis be more Jack Wild kind of player that he originally is, and he brought more like this rock and roll playing into the solos, which kind of like gives a certain like a confidence boost also to the solos, because it's more into his style, and the way he does it is just also a little bit new in Wolfheart, so he kind of like adds even more doing that. But yeah, definitely one of the best solo works. Like the solo in the song King, absolutely phenomenal. Like the solo is like a clear highlight of the song, and I think that is like a definition of a good solo. That the whole song kind of like peaks on that. It
On
doesn't
that
like it.
solo. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. And it was nice to see that on this record. It just felt like so natural. It just felt like it was just an extension of who he is.
yeah,
And I think sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get in there. Like you said, it was big shoes to fill. The band already has their own DNA, their own sound, their own essence, and you're coming in with certain expectations. Maybe not expectations from you, but the
yeah,
fans have certain expectations. So it's not an easy role to be in for him. And I think that this album is finally his coronation, since we're
yeah,
since that's kind of the mood of the
yeah.
time we're living in. It was a little bit of his coronation. Now, another thing I really enjoyed about this record was the pianos, all the keys, the orchestrations, everything was excellent. Was it hard for you to find room for them in a way that doesn't take anything away from the rest of the sound, the rest of the heaviness that the album has?
No, it wasn't. The big advantage was that the Saku who did the mixing did also the orchestration. So it was also while they were composed, it was already like it was designed to fit there. We didn't record anything that was compromising the guitars or compromising the space, or so it was. Yeah, it was a different thing than previous albums. Also with that. And I have to like, and it's also a lot of like a lot of the stuff were pretty like impulsively done, just like depending on the mood at that point in the studio. Like we wanted to keep it very like fresh. And a good example is the piano intro in Skyforger, where the whole album begins. Like everything on the album is crafted into perfection when it comes to shooting the studios and the guitar swings and guitar picks and microphones and everything, that the sound is as good quality as possible. And it sounds like a grand piano, doesn't it? It sounds like a
It's not.
grand piano in a huge studio, that like a huge space and reverb, and it opens up the album with this like a massive soundscape. It's very old piano of a old school, and it was recorded with the cell phone.
Cell phone.
I was holding the phone. Like we were recording the intro part of the song with Saku, and I thought like the piano would be really good. Like instead of a guitar, it would add like certain amount of like cold mood into the beginning, because it's about northern lights, so it should like sound cold and beautiful. And we didn't find any like good like plug-in sound. They all sounded like very like plastic and not natural at all. And the building where the studio is has an old school room and there was one old piano that was in tune enough, and I was holding a cell phone just like 1 meter away from the piano. It's even when you listen to the album, it's a little bit in a different tempo, because we didn't have the energy to arrange a click track. So
I thought you were the one playing the piano. It turns out you're
no,
the one with the cell phone recording. So
no, I was the audio engineer. That's what we call. I was not the cell phone holder. I was the professional audio engineer perfecting the piano intro of the song.
with all the experience of all the records you've done with Wolfheart, outside of Wolfheart, does it get easier with every album, or does every album bring its own challenges?
It varies quite a lot. Like it's what I've learned like getting older is very important. The mood, like my own mood and my state of mind and how my life is going at that point. Like I need to like I was a lot better handling chaotic times when I was younger. Now I need to be able to focus more on the stuff I do, to be able to enjoy it, and when I enjoy it, then everything goes smooth, and small obstacles don't really feel as obstacles. But yeah, it's but every album is different in so many ways. Like on the Wolf of Karelia, in the mixing time, we noticed that there's something wrong in the signal of the guitar. So in 2 days I had to play again all the rhythm guitars.
Holy shit.
That doesn't make it that album. It was a lot of obstacles with that album, and that made it even worse. Of course, I do a lot of the riffs and especially the harmonies in the studio, which means I never rehearse them before I record them. And when I record them, I don't rehearse them because I play only the first guitar on the live shows. So I didn't remember some of the stuff. I had to learn them at the studio and then record them because we were really pushing the deadline. So small things can actually bring a lot of complications on the recordings. But yeah, it depends on the album.
So for those of us in North America, we were supposed to see you guys this year on that Rotting Christ tour. That didn't happen. When do you think we're going to be seeing Wolfheart, and more importantly, hearing some of these new songs from the new record?
February.
All right. The man's got a date. That's good.
That's only the details I can say at this point, but it is confirmed. If the world doesn't get any crazier than it is now, it shouldn't be any reason why it wouldn't happen.
I think I'm not going to say it's impossible to get any crazier, but
don't jinx this because
let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it. I need to see you guys in North America. I need to see you guys play. Last question for you. I joked about this at the beginning, but who is the King of the North for you on this album?
Bear is the strongest, a real a creature and thing in Finnish and Nordic mythology. So it's
like a polar bear?
No, we don't have those. Not up north enough, but we just have the basic old brown bears. But yeah, bear. And the stories in the mythology and the beliefs about the bear were the most fascinating. I could really understand how mystical creature it was, like an ancestor of men. It was believed to be. The name bear, at least the Finnish version, is not even its real name because it was not allowed to say aloud back in the days, and then people forgot the real name, and it was supposed to be born from the stars, and it was carried from the skies in this a golden fabric and with eternal spirit that never dies. Even nowadays, when you kill a bear in Finland, they carry the bear out from the woods head first, because it's not believed to be fully dead. The spirit will travel to the next life, and yeah, there's so many fascinating things about bear. So it's definitely that is the king. And if you just think about it, 400 years ago, you walk into the woods and you find yourself between the bear mom and the cub, you will get to know really quickly what is the order of the dominance in the nature. So only with the modern technology, it's a little bit more even for human beings.
I totally agree with you. So maybe the next album will be Bearheart. I don't know, something else.
that was honestly, that was one thing that I was a little bit conflict when choosing the title, because the title was very obvious. It had to be about the bear, because I wanted to be more nature connected than just the mythology. And we already have Amorphis covering that a fairy tale part of the mythology very deeply. And then choosing the cover, and we are Wolfheart, and we are singing about bears, and there's a bear skull. So that's why there's two wolf skulls on the sides, because I had to include the wolf somewhere. So now there's two wolves behind the bear skull. But yeah.
Really interesting dynamic. The way your mind works always puzzles me. So that's why I enjoy these conversations. So Tuomas, thank you very much for your time today. It's always a pleasure. It's always a blast. I'll be seeing you in February, but I'm sure we'll be talking before then.
Yeah, thank you.